Recording is on.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hakim and Ansam Ajeeb for being here. I hope I'm pronouncing Ansam's name properly. That's a new name for me. I'm sorry if I am not. Dr. Hakim, we're looking forward to learning from you. So over to you, please.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, Ansam, I can hear you.
Oh, yeah, you're pronouncing it right. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Okay, cool. Dr. Hakim, over to you.
Yeah, thank you for giving us this space to talk about Sudan. And I would like to start with Ansam because she's gonna go with the history and the base of what's going on, and then I'll follow up. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. Ansam,
yes.
Go ahead.
I would like to start by talking about what's happening currently in Sudan. Everyone that's listening to the news or following everything's happening globally, especially in Sudan, would think that what's happening in Sudan have started in April 15, 2023. But in reality, what happened in Sudan started a long time ago, especially in Darfur. In Darfur, it started after the Sudan took its independence from Britain. But what we are witnessing today, especially, have started or erupted in 2003, when the rebel group Justice and Equality Movement and other rebel group SLA, it is Sudan Liberation Army, revoluted against the capital government, the Khartoum government, because they had against the because they thought they felt or witnessed the government leaving them out of the decisions and marginalizing them. So they have started the movement against them. So Khartoum replied or answered, the government of Khartoum responded by arming Janjaweed militia, which is what we are witnessing now, the ramification of that decision. So the arming of the Janjaweed unleashed a series or wave of mass violence against civilians. They killed people, they burned villages, and thousands of people were killed, hundreds of thousands of people were displaced. So it did not start just 2 or 3 years ago. It have been going long time ago for our people, brothers and sisters in Darfur. But only people have become aware of it due to the conflict or the beginning of the conflict in Khartoum. So what happened in Sudan was not in Darfur was not actually a war, was not a civil war. It was more of a massacre or a genocide against the civilians that lived there. People or the international community has classified what happened in Darfur and still happening in Darfur as the first genocide of the 21st century. And it was targeted primarily toward the tribes of Al-Fur and Masalit, also the Zaghawa. They were the main target of the genocide. The ICC, or the International Criminal Court, charged against some Sudanese officials at the time, accusing them of crimes against humanity and neglect for the people of Darfur. They accused them with killing, forcible displacement, torture, and systematic sexual violence. This takes us to one of the most horrific actions or weapons that were used in the genocide in Darfur, the use of rape as a weapon of war. They used the rape not as a devilish action or something that just happened spontaneously or just came out of them being evil. It was a plan. They have targeted women and girls and children, any age, women over the age of 70, girls under the age of 10. Every single person that they could lay their hand on, they targeted them. They raped women in front of their families and their husbands, and as an act of humiliation. Even the visibly pregnant women were targeted. So they have targeted everyone that they laid their hands on as an act of genocidal rape. And it was not an accident. They did it to destroy the social fabric of the region. In 2004, the former U.S. Secretary General of State Colin Powell, he had an investigation or opened an investigation about what's happening in Sudan, and the result of the investigation concluded that, or showed that, the crimes were not random, but it was a part of they planned it. It was a plan, so they can depopulate the region of Darfur of its non-Arabic community. So they wanted to get rid of the African or the blacks of the region. As I have said earlier, they have targeted the Fora, Masalid, and Zaghawa. Those are African tribes that lived in the region and still till this day are living in the region. So they targeted them. Every action they did was planned. It was not an accident. So everybody these days is talking about the war in Sudan and the conflict in Sudan. Of course, some people know, but not a lot of people are aware of what's happening and been happening in Darfur since 3 decades. They are enduring this suffering, the killing, the mass rape, the abduction, the selling, human trafficking, and every heinous act that you can think of, they have endured it. Also, just to add to that, people may sometimes mistake the war in Sudan in general, not only in Darfur, but in general. They mistake it for a civil war. But if we want to classify the war in Sudan, we would go for a proxy war, because the conflict in Sudan, or the proxy war in general, what does it mean? It means that a conflict where major parts or major supporters start supporting a side in a conflict that's happening in a region. They provide the side that they picked with weapons. They provide them with fund and training because they do not want to endure the losses of committing this war or starting this war in their own region. So we all know that there is a financial gain behind wars everywhere in the world. People who start the war, they know that they are going to gain some kind of financial gain behind it. So why do it in our country when we can do it in another region? Why harm our countries when we can harm another regions? So people would ask what kind of interference would be causing the genocide in Sudan. The UAE, United Arab of Emirates, have interfered by because of the gold buyers and the RSF. They finance the RSF, so they have a huge gold hub in the UAE, so they can buy and steal actually or loot the gold of Sudan and other minerals, and they can regulate it so easily in the UAE. Also, Saudi Arabia support SAF, which is Sudan, the Sudan force, by supporting them. Also, Russia buys gold, and she have a gold connection. Also, China and Iran, they have arms deal, and they have erupted or interfered in Sudan by their arms deal. Also, U.S. and Western powers, they also funded the genocide, or they have a former genocide classification. Chad and Libya also have interfered by the arms intermediaries, or the arms intermediaries. So those are some of the countries that have interfered in the conflict and genocide and war in Sudan. Also, some other countries without specification, Western powers have interfered by selling weapons to people, to the RSF group. So this is about just a little glimpse of the historical facts that have contributed to the war and genocide that's currently happening in Sudan. It's deeply rooted in the history of Sudan. It didn't happen 3 or 2 years ago. And this was me. Thank you for your time.
So thank you so much for that introduction, Ansam. It is like so horrific, and thank you for sharing these important facts. Dr. Hakim, do you prefer to take questions in the middle or afterwards? And same with you, Ansam.
I think if anyone have a question, so before I speak, because it's a different topic.
Okay.
It's yes related, but it's a different issue. So
Okay.
we need to do analysis for the politics. So if anyone have a question for Ansam or me, we can answer right away.
Okay. So Ansam, a few questions came to mind. So you mentioned Russia is buying gold, China and Iran are selling weapons, and you also mentioned some Western countries are also selling weapons to RSF. Would you be able to share some links to stories about like which specific countries are selling weapons? So, like for example, from major news articles, we know that some American and other Western weapons, which are sold to United Arab Emirates, are ending up in RSF hands. And
yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. The Britain have sold weapons to the UAE, and they were found with the RSF. Even though there is no possible way for them to buy it, the only way for them to get it is through the UAE, and there is the trade documents are out there, so it can be traced easily. But we do have documents in our manifesto. We're gonna share it with you guys, and if you take a moment of your time and take a quick glance on it, it would be great to take a look at it.
And then you also mentioned that Saudi Arabia is selling weapons to SAF, and do we know which group China and Iran are selling weapons to?
Actually, I didn't say it sells weapon, but I said the Saudi Arabia and Egypt are SAF supporters. They back the SAF, not SRF.
Okay.
Yes, and yes.
And then which groups are China and Iran selling weapons to?
So in the China and Iran are. So all I have is them having deals with having armed deals with Sudan. So I didn't classify which group are they backing or supporting, but I will be sharing it with the in the manifesto too.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
And then you also mentioned that Russia is buying gold from Sudan. And so, like, which group are they buying gold from? Like, is it RSF, is it SAF, or is it someone else?
The most obvious group, and right before the war, they had this deal, and it was not a secret; it was an open deal with the with Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, the RSF leader.
Okay. And then that deal is continuing, presumably.
So we didn't have any, especially after the sanctions that were imposed on the RSF and also the SAF, their companies, their mining companies. They had sanctions before the war in 2022, but also now they have renewed the sanctions on both of them. So I'm not fully aware of the continuation of the gold deals until after the war, but RSF is known to be backed by Russia.
Okay. So Russia.
I have one question.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Ansam. Thanks for your
Yes.
talk. Actually, I wanted to ask a question regarding human trafficking, because I also heard lots of
Regarding what?
Human
Sorry?
trafficking. Human trafficking.
Oh, yes.
Human
Yes.
trafficking. So,
Yes.
are these people selling humans to any countries, or to whom they are trafficking these people? Where these people are going after they are abducting them? That is my question.
So I have mentioned the human trafficking in the previous dialogue, or the previous, we're talking about the past 3 decades. So the Janjaweed, or the militias, they have been trafficking humans. So it was a known fact in the but it's not in the recent time. It's in the past 30 years. So they used to abduct, many cases of abduction of people from the region of Darfur. The Janjaweed used to abduct people and sell them to different areas. Maybe in a specific time, maybe before the Britons also have entered they ended the slavery trade in Sudan. And it was open for all the slavery trade in Sudan and the human abduction and trafficking.
Actually, they are going out of Sudan, or within Sudan only their movement is happening. Means the people who are abducted and trafficked, they are exported out of Sudan. That is my question. Actually, I'm curious to know about it, basically, because it's a very global industry. So I just curious to know.
Yes, this is actually my topic, and I will go in details regarding this part. If no one have another question to Ansam regarding the proxy war and the history of Darfur.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So I just have one more question. So, and we want to make sure to give Dr. Hakim time to cover her topic as well. And so, what is the most important thing that we in the West should be doing? I'll put the recording up afterwards. Most of the audience is in North America or South America or Europe, and so people in the Western world, and of this particular group, most of them. And so, what is your suggested course of action that we can take at our local level?
So this is sorry. So this is a valid question. It have been actually in my mind specifically for a long time. Is what should we expect from the Western powers, or what should we expect from the Western people in general? But I think one of the most important factors is classifying the war in Sudan as a proxy war. because classifying it as a civil war could easily lift the weight from the people, the Western people, or the everyone in the world, in general, everyone, because it should not actually do that, because a war is a war. People are suffering whether it's a proxy war or a civil war, still people are suffering. But classifying it as a civil war, it gives it a sense of it's their own problem, their brothers fighting in their own land. But knowing the fact that it's not a civil war, it's a proxy war, people are benefiting from what's going on in Sudan, and they are keeping it going for this reason. They do not want to end the conflict for this reason. So I think sharing the awareness about the reality of the conflict in Sudan, and also the conflict or the genocide, that's happening in the region of Darfur these days. People are not talking about it enough. Because they have shut down the cameras, they have kidnapped the journalists, the doctors, everyone that could share the information. Because of this shutdown, people have started to forget it and treat it as a trend. If you have the photos, we're gonna talk about it. But if we do not have the photos, we're not gonna talk about it, which is not good. It's not that people are still suffering. Numbers are still going. 19,000 Sudanese persons are now under the imprisonment of the RSF, the Rapid Support Force, for no reason. There is no reason. They did not tell the people why are these people abducted, or they say imprisoned, but I say abducted. Why are those people abducted? Why are they being kept in these harsh conditions? So I think this is a huge thing. Talking about it and just trying to bring the peace for the people, because it's not, people are trying to give the others this image of it being this is they say karama war, which means a war for dignity, which this is not the true. People are suffering from it, and at the same time others are benefiting from it. It's giving them money back. So I think classifying it as a proxy war is very important.
Thank you. So Dr. Hakim, over to you. I want to make sure we give you ample time, and then we can continue our conversation afterwards. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone again. I'll start talking about the history of trafficking and what's going on right now. Everyone should know that Sudan, before 2023, when the war broke, hosted over 1 million refugees and was stated at the most largest African country that hosted refugees around the years. So when the war actually broke, like after 3 months, a lot of neighboring countries has closed their borders, and not just closed their borders. Like for example, when they made the announcement for the visa before the war, I could just simply enter Egypt with no visa. And during that announcement, my friend and her family were in the border, and other 150 Sudanese were trying to escape the war. They made this announcement where they have to pay $3,000 before they enter, and they were just right there in the borders. And they left homeless in the street with nowhere to go, and they cannot go back to Khartoum because it's very dangerous. So this is the first point of breaking refugee violation laws, and started 3 years ago, even before the situation escalating. So what's going on right now? We need to ask the question, why all the neighboring countries close their borders? Why they're making unreasonable amount, like paying $3,000 for a visa? And the answer is human trafficking. When you close the borders for everyone, they're gonna smuggle in. They have no other way, and the countries know this fact. And for the answer, for the question of the back ask, there is a two type of trafficking. The one was happened like inside Sudan by the Arab soldiers. If you witness like a video, any video with the Rapid Support Forces soldiers, you will notice they're very young. Like if you look closer, you will notice some of them are 14, 13, and even 16. even during the protest, when we see them in the street, and there's like a lot of them in our neighboring cities. I see children were holding weapons, and actually not a lot of people talk about this fact. I don't mean to emphasize them, but this is a type of trafficking because they kidnap the children and force them to be RSF soldiers. And now you have a person who are trained and raised to kill someone else. We're not dealing with any type of soldiers or human. Okay, we have a Colombian soldiers who have been recently joined RSF, and you can see them in the news. And there's a public police made a statement with the Colombian ministry about this fact. But this is not talking about a person to choose army. Now we're talking about children who is raised and trained to kill. And this is part of trafficking inside Sudan by the RSF soldiers and how they're systemically being built. And this is very dangerous. Regarding the outside borders, where they're moved. Before even the war broke, there is a famous games in UAE. If you have watched it before, the camels where they make the children ride the camels for race. So they use trafficking by stealing Sudanese children. They always be in the camel. Then it's now forbidden, but you should ask who are the children. They're Sudanese children, and this is before the war. And after the war, I'm going to talk about my personal experience, but you need to understand again where these people go. They're children and women. They're being going to Middle Eastern countries to work as domestic servants, and some of them are being like forced to be work as prostitute, and they even in Europe. So what specific countries? All the countries, like any neighboring country that can be used humans as trafficking and sell them and make them slaves, they're doing it. And it's shocking that we are in 2025 and there's still human slavery and nobody talks about it, but still there. And now my personal experience, I work in Aswan Training Hospital. And Aswan, it's a border between Sudan and Egypt. So any refugee who's trying to escape and they have an accident, they will come to the hospital I work in. So at one time, there's an accident and 15 people came. Most of them were women. There were only 3 men. One with disabilities and one was 16 years old and an elderly man. The rest of them were women. So what the weird thing that happened that day, they didn't report it. The officer, he told me, let them go. I'm not gonna report the issue. And I thought, okay, because they're women, maybe he felt bad for them. So I start calling my colleagues to bring them to our houses, because if someone saw them like this in the middle of the hospital, they're gonna report them. And unfortunately, most of my colleagues, they didn't respond, and I understand them because I am a refugee. I'm a Sudanese who is in Egypt, and I may lose my license and I may get deported, and most of them felt this way. But I had to bring them to my home because we're talking about children who's like 5 of them were children and they're 18, and elderly women. I couldn't just see them going to jail. And they don't go to jail. The detention centers there, they're very bad. Like most of Sudanese refugees die there because of malnutrition, because of infection, and it's a whole other section history that we need to talk about. So I had to escape them to my house. I ordered Uber and I took the children with me to my place. And when I was trying to get back, the officer, he reported the incident when he saw the children not there. And he said the first, like, they bring a big bus. He was like, take them to the big bus, and they will offer them like a free apartment. And the drivers, they spoke Sudanese and they looked Sudanese, but they weren't Sudanese. And before they get into the bus, I asked if they know if anyone there know them actually, and they all of the refugees say they don't know them. So this bus that came by the officer who said he gonna help was planning to actually kidnap them, and this is why I stopped it and I brought them to my house. And when he saw that, he immediately reported the incident and took the other elderly women to the detention department. And this is like a simple case that I just have witnessed, and there's a lot of many cases and incidents that happened. I'm not gonna ever end up talking about it, but we need to highlight that this is happening, and we're seeing every day. And I don't know what we should do besides just speaking and highlighting and sharing this.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hakim. That's just atrocious. And you know, like, you are one person, you're doing your best to help, and like, you know, who knows how many others similar things are happening to, and how many others, you know, are not. There's no other Dr. Hakim there to stop that kind of abduction from happening, and it's insane. And you mentioned that you're at the border of Egypt and Sudan, at Aswan Hospital.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I do you like do you have to be like, so we know from our pro-Palestinian friends in Egypt that they have to be very careful with their speech and with their activism, and you know, like, Egyptian government, you know, allows a decent amount of people to, you know, do stuff to help the Palestinians, but at the same time, you can't speak up against the Egyptian government, right? Otherwise, whether you're Egyptian or not, like, you get put in jail or worse, right? And I imagine for a refugee like you, things would be even worse. And so, you know, so definitely, we don't want to get into any details in this call, but like, what are like general conditions Sudanese are facing
Recording is on.
in in um, in Egypt?
Sorry, I didn't hear your question,
Yeah.
the last point. Because
Yeah, sorry, there was a little bit of echo. What are general conditions that the Sudanese refugees are facing in Egypt?
Okay, first, for the last 3 months or 6 months, there are a lot of Sudanese that have been abducted with no reason. We have like a family member from FAR who was being detained, and he had his legal papers, but unfortunately he passed in the detention center because he had diabetes, and he wasn't allowed to get his medication. The family kept going to the center back and over, proving that he has his paper work was legit, but they still refused to release him. And a lot of they've just been abducted, so Sudanese family pay more money for the detention centers as a bribe, and we can't afford it. We're refugees. We can barely have a job here, and economically everyone is suffering. Every Sudanese people in Egypt or any country, they're suffering, especially Egypt because the salary rate is very low, and there's a lot of discrimination. Even me as a physician, for example, I took Egyptian medical license exams. I passed it. I paid for it, but I still can't practice unless I'm paying for the hospital as an internship or as a residency. I have to pay for them more than $7,000 to start my residency, for example. So I just do there my internship, or just do or work as a volunteer for free. So there's a lot of different discrimination when it comes to work, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your rights as a refugee. And I still remember the case of a big accident that happened. Like 7 members of the same family have passed away, and they were only left like 2 children and 70 years old with a fracture, and he went through a surgery. And just one day after the surgery, they took him to the detention center. They didn't even leave him stay like for 3 days. So the amount of violation the Sudanese people facing right now are endless, and come in very different shapes, despite the racism that also there. So and now the racism is like, for us, is like nothing. This is, we don't care about, it's like a luxury. We only care about surviving. Like, even if someone be racist to us, it's okay for us. So we're in this level, and this is the situation right now.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Dr. Hakim. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. Our friend Wahid has a question.
Actually, a question and a comment. First, my deepest sympathies and condolences for what's going on in Sudan. One of the things that I know it's really difficult is getting personal stories of people that are impacted in this genocide that's taking place. I run a website called Parents Plea, where we document the genocide in Gaza and police brutality in the US and Iran and elsewhere. But the biggest challenge we have is trying to get personal stories of people that have been impacted in places like Yemen and Sudan. And, because there, as you said, there are no journalists and the doctors are under a lot of pressure and there's no internet connectivity to begin with to get those stories. But one thing that Ansam mentioned is that this has really started in 2003. So I'm hoping that maybe there are family members that are outside of the country that can share some of those stories with us, and we'll be happy to publish it, just to give it a personal image. There's satellite images of this massacre, but we like to capture personal stories of surviving family members, their pleas for justice, and bring attention to that. And I don't know if you or any of the nonprofit organizations that operate in this environment would be willing to share those kinds of stories. And probably, it's all would be anonymous. We don't put the names of the people that are sharing the stories, but they can submit it themselves on our site or have my team submit it on the site. So so people are aware of the human toll that is taking place. Thank you.
Thank you for offering this and the willing for amplifying the stories, the untold. I will contact you with someone, and we have volunteers in Dimba camp. It's in the north, with it's a camp for women from Darfur, and we have 7 people there. They mainly speak Arabic, so it may take time to translate. But we can make even an interview. We can make an interview, and we can record it or send you the stories. So let's stay in contact.
Thank you, Wahid. Thank you, Dr. Hakim. And I want to ask you the same question that I asked Ansam. I'm sitting here in Canada. We have a bunch of American friends, some in other places as well. What can we have friends here from Bangladesh and India and other places as well. What can we do to help? In addition to raising our voices, which many of us are doing already.
I think everyone should start asking themselves, what if it was me? And the answers will come through. Me personally, and we need more rage than sympathy. We need more people in the street protesting for Sudan. We need our manifesto to be shared, because manifesto explain who's in this war, who's the chessboard, the new colonialism, the slavery is going on, and the petition. And we have 7 demands for Darfur that contain what we want. We want the humanitarian aid to be accessible. We need the trafficking and sexual abuse to be stopped. So we have a list of demands. So what you can do, I think you're already doing it. You're amplifying our voices, and this is our 3rd demand. So please keep amplifying Sudanese people's voices. Please share any document from Decolonize Sudan organization or Women Beyond Silence, anything that educate about the situation. So we take people accounted. we don't have the power, but the power is for the people. And as long as people keep in talking about it in the street and they're supporting organization on the ground, like supporting people there. Now for example, we're doing a dignity kit for women in Darfur, and I noticed like most of the international NGOs, they mainly focus about bringing food. Yes, yeah, yes, we need food, but what about the health system? What about the bathrooms? Women need sanitary pads. Nobody talk about and actually provide essential help that prevent like our dignity as women and for the children. So the like, specific needs, people just come, and the NGOs I contact with, they come for the show. I ask them like, we need to build a bathroom. They know, they say they wanna take pictures for the food that they distribute, and it's very mentally exhausting. And yes, we could need any type of help, but please, we need people to dedicate themselves, not just help us for the show, to actually make a sustainable impact about what's going on there.
Yeah, this is definitely something that we have learned from friends who have been facing genocide in Yemen, in Gaza, and other places as well. That there's definitely like some people have been calling it NGO industrial complex, right? And like, you know, some people in the right wing circles have been using it with a very negative and different kind of connotation, but there is definitely kind of like validity to it, and so so you mentioned supporting people on the ground, and so what specifically like which people or which groups?
Okay, personally, right now, for 3 days ago, we have distributed 100 dignity kit for women, pregnant women in Dimba camp, for women from Darfur. And now we have like a 300 women, and in next month, 80 of them, they're gonna give birth. And they have no clothes, no warm pairs for the children, and no even sanitary pads. And we need to do this project, and it's hard to reach people because like international NGO, we're just like Sudanese initiative, and we need like support for this project. Even if the like people not gonna support it, they need to know women need sanitary pad, their children gonna freeze from this. So we need to highlight the issues. Maybe someone else, okay, they give support for another NGO, but at least this type of project is being implanted in ground. And I'm working with this project with Dr. Humanitarian Aid Charity. They're based in Australia, and another organization, SDHR, from Germany, and Women Beyond Silence. And we're gonna launch it next month. So if you like to support us, I can send you the project details and everything. If you like to highlight the issue or like to support financially, everything is available because one sanitary pad.
Yeah, definitely. Please share, and then we will amplify and in future meetings as well.
Thank you so much.
And you know, like sometimes we also think a lot about like, you know, choosing between charities to support and choosing between initiatives to support, right? Like for example, and then so let's say, for example, initiatives to reduce or eliminate the proxy war. And so, for example, putting pressure on the Western governments whose weapons are ending up in the hands of RSF, putting pressure on the UAE government to stop selling weapons to RSF or giving them weapons, and then balancing that against um, donating and spending time and money um, on sharing the charities that are doing work on the ground, like you mentioned, and ensuring that dignity of the Sudanese people is maintained. And do you have any thoughts on how these two different types of efforts should be balanced against each other? Both are obviously important, and where should there be more focus or less focus, or equal, or yeah.
I think we should prioritize people needs first. And we can work both of them. Like for example, if you are in initiative or NGO, you can post on Instagram about for example what Ansam said, that this is happened 30 years ago, or the trafficking that's still going on. So you're here working about the awareness, and people will take over. Like there's still a lot of process going on, and when people know the right information and rage and everything, they will go on. So we need to believe in people's ability to take action, and we can mainly focus on helping people in right now, because there's still more than 1,000 people who are trapped in Al Fashir city and with no access, and no one knows what's going on right now. It's all back out, like all the news or what's going on, we know from the people who escaped to the neighboring cities. But now Al Fashir in the total dark, and it's very scary, and the fact nobody knows. So we can at least save the survivors. Like they escaped hell, at least they deserve dignity, and they deserve basic rights. So we can both work in both sides and just find a balance, an accessible thing for the time. And when things get better, okay, people are stable. Now we need to focus more on the political issue and achieving justice, because we know the court takes a lot of time and stuff like that. But I also recommend like following up decolonize Sudan, and um, and the initiative that work in Europe, Sudanese initiative that go through the protest. Like all the protests that you see right now are organized mainly by Sudanese people. So we can share also their site and where they go and show up. Like for example, last week in Germany for the protest, there was like 20 people, and it's okay. 20 people made the people in Germany notice what's going on in Sudan, and that's great. I'm not sad about it. I'm actually happy because of these 20 people, another 20 know what's going on right now. So we can find a balance if we want, inshallah.
Thank you. Ansam, please.
Yes, I just want to add that to the two methods that you have said already. There is one important method also is boycotting. Boycotting have always proven to be working against huge powers or big powers, because it's the weapon of the people. It's the simple small thing that people can do. We can boycott the products and tourism in the countries that have been proven to contribute negatively in Sudan. So I think just addressing the boycotting factor could be also an amazing step towards getting everything right and in the correct order.
Thank you, Ansam. And one obvious boycott target is UAE. Which other targets are important? Some of the, maybe a few of the important ones.
So obviously, every institute or country that supports the RSF, specifically, because I do not want to say that one of them is more accountable for what's going on in Sudan. But obviously, the RSF have contributed more to the conflict or the suffering of the people of Sudan. So every country that backs the UAE and have been proven to be backing the RSF, actually, I mean, have proven to be backing the RSF should be boycotted and should be targeted. Even social media pressure could be good or could be a positive change. I don't want to name, but every country that have been proven to contribute or to support or to back the RSF should be boycotted, product-wise and tourism-wise.
Okay, thank you. I will do some research and maybe put some names of countries and products in the list, in the notes afterwards. And there was a question from Cecile.
Share with you in our manifesto, we can share with you the documents and the data that we have collected, so you could add from it.
Okay. And both of you mentioned a manifesto. That's the link that Dr. Hakim just shared, right? That's the
But the full manifesto, I'll send it to you by email, because we have edited and added new resources that's not visible in the main website. So everything, I'll send it to you by email.
Okay, got it. Cecile had a question. Are you able to share social media handles of leading voices of what's happening in Darfur, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, so that we can focus amplification of best voices? So one of the ones that one of you already mentioned was Decolonize Sudan. Are there other ones that you would also suggest?
Yes, I can actually share the links directly by email too, because I'm not in my phone.
Okay.
But yeah, I can send you a list.
Sure. Yes, please. Deepak has a question. Deepak, please.
Also, there is a book, I think, in my opinion, personal opinion, it is biased in telling the story about Sudan. It's called The War and Peace in Sudan, a conflict, a tale of two countries. It could be useful too.
Hello.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Ansam.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please. Deepak, go ahead.
Hello, Salman.
Yeah.
Every one of us was focusing on Gaza. So very few people are focusing on Sudan. But I think lots of atrocities are happening in Sudan also. So I will build one narrative also in the link. So I will appreciate if, because I am not updated about what's happening in Sudan. Because I was also focusing on Gaza and Palestine. So I would appreciate if I get some links so that I will read it and do my own research and craft one narrative. And also highlight the work which our speakers are doing, Ansam and Tasabih, including this human trafficking and proxy, because I also agree all these conflicts are fueled by the Western powers, imperialistic powers. That is the root cause of all these conflicts, including Sudan. Although I don't know the most things, but broadly I think they are behind this. And since Britain colonized Sudan, obviously they have vested interest like this. So I would like to make a narrative, and Salman bhai, I think the links will be shared, na? Also the work done by our partners, so that we can highlight their work also.
I'll share the links, the notes, and the
please.
video via email after I get them from Dr. Hakim.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to ask one more question, Dr. Hakim and Ansam, if you can spare a couple more minutes. Are you okay to just go over a couple of minutes extra?
Yes, sure.
Okay, thank you. So, Gaza gets a lot of attention for many different reasons, but places like Congo, Sudan, Yemen, Rohingya in Myanmar, they largely get ignored, and for many different reasons, racism and other reasons. And one of the things I personally tried to do a year ago is try to intertwine these atrocities and to basically use the momentum that is there for Palestine to also address Sudan. And then I worked with some artists to create a series of videos and narrations, which I put in the link and I'll share in the notes as well. And in your opinion, from your perspective as a Sudanese, do you think that is a helpful approach, or should different approaches be tried? Because until like basically November this year, the Sudanese genocide was pretty much ignored by most people. But then I don't know what happened. Something happened in November where all of a sudden a lot of people did start speaking about Sudan. What is your perspective on that, or suggestions on that?
Personally, I think one of the main reasons why suddenly Sudan became a trend, if you noticed, that happened after the ceasefire for Palestine. And right now, Palestine is going through a very difficult time. Nobody is speaking enough about the catastrophe after the genocide happened, and there's still thing going on. And I think this is part of the propaganda, which is, yes, it helps Sudan, but we need to fight this fact. We need to fight the separation or using other causes to distract from other causes, because none of us is free unless we are all free. So we need to connect, because as long as we're doing this separation from Rwanda to Congo, to Sudan, to Palestine, we're going to be trapped. We're going to be in one hole from a different hole. So we need also to highlight a basic common ground and speak who's the man who's responsible. And we all know, like, we have a major two factors, like we have US and we have the Zionists and Israel. So we know who's responsible behind this, like mainly for the last couple of years. So we need to stop talking about it as a different sides, and also amplifying the culture of each country and people who've been affected, to embrace them, and it's not matter of empathy or matter of just feeling pity, but matter of empowerment and realizing the beauty in every person, from Congo to Sudan to Rwanda to Palestine.
Thank you so much. Maybe we'll take one last question from our friend Ishtiaq, and then we can let Dr. Hakim go, because I think it's like 9 or 10. Okay, and obviously, Ishtiaq, and then maybe Ansam, and then we can. Yeah, please.
Hi. So I was just thinking, when you say, obviously, Sudan, it's not been happening. It's not new. It's been happening for.
Okay, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't hear Ishtiaq anymore.
Can you
Yeah, me
write
too.
down, because we can hear him. Can you write down your question?
Okay. And then while we're waiting for Ishtiaq to reconnect, maybe we can hear from Ansam. Ansam, you also put your hand.
So Salman, I just wanted to answer your question about trying to use the momentum. Actually, in my opinion, I believe that people are people. It does not matter where are you from. If you're going through harsh time, people should support each other, and this is what we have. We have each other. We know that some huge powers, I do not want to say evil powers, just do not give them a narrative that they do not deserve. It's not evil and evil, good and evil. it's people doing bad things to others. So I think people are people. We should talk about it anyways. Also, answering your other question about why does it become a trend, or did it become viral on November. It was because the RSF themselves, one of the majors in the forest, have shared videos of him killing the people. So it was horrific and it shocked the whole entire world. So this was the reason why it became a viral thing. I think. They did not do that by accident. It was planned. I think they are trying to assert dominance and to show the people of Sudan that they are there and they are capable of doing bad things whenever they want to. So it was not a foolish action. They keep doing this every now and then. When the people in Sudan think that they are approaching a good side, or they are going to solve the problem, or the war is going to end, they take one of their leaders or one of their majors and make him share videos of him killing people. So they don't want people. They want fear to be there. And I think they are capable. The fact that they are capable of killing and doing that every now and then means that they have actually what they are advocating or saying that they have. They have the power to do kill people whenever they do. So it's not. It didn't end yet. Also, why people are just now talking about Darfur, I think, and also I have been saying over and over again, it did not start 3 years ago or 4 years ago or in April 2023. So why we were silent, knowing that our people in Darfur are getting killed? I think in one way or another, the government or the people in Sudan, or I will say the government, but I will say it in a grain of salt, with a grain of salt. The government of Sudan have asserted in the minds of people that we are not one. They are a lesser people than us. So than the people of the north or the people of the west. They have always shared this narrative of you guys are not one. You cannot communicate with each other. You do not know them. So I think this narrative have contributed a lot in the conflict in Darfur, or the genocide in Darfur. Because if people have been raged, or if people have been mad about it since earlier, it would have ended before it even got to Khartoum. So I think the silence have made it reach Khartoum, and I think the racism is also what's behind the suffering of the people of Darfur.
Thank you, Ansam. The racism definitely is playing a strong role in, the suffering happening in Sudan and many other places in Africa as well. No doubt about that. Thank you for sharing those additional important points. All right. So just being mindful for everyone's time. Oh, actually, Ishtiaq ended up putting his question in the chat. So maybe we'll just make that the last question, and then let our speakers go, because it's late in Egypt where they are. There's a few political parties in Bangladesh which are trying their best to color the armed forces. I'm not sure if you meant to say color the armed forces. I wonder if putting the armed forces in a bad light in the eyes of the people is part of a blueprint to destabilize a country.
Are you asking about like I think, do you mean like the armed forces are good or bad? Like, can you just explain it?
Hi guys, sorry. It was just a theory I was throwing around. That's all. You mentioned something about people seeing folks in the army killing someone, and then it happens every now and then. So you think peace is coming, and then someone in the armed forces gets caught doing something they shouldn't be doing, and then it just everything goes out of yeah. That's what I was trying to get at.
So if you're talking about RFS, are you mentioning RFS, the rabbit?
No, not RFS, not RFS. I'm just mentioning Yeah, I'm just mentioning. Listen, here's the thing. All right, and there are bad apples in almost every armed forces out there. Okay, obviously the RFS has a very bad reputation right now, but the question is, how does it start? Right, that's the thing. A couple of bad apples doing bad things, and then people just going to take up arms against the entire, like a broad stroke approach. It's just
Okay.
like theory I'm throwing out there.
So,
Is that
okay, if how did it start? Like how they became this chaotic? This is what you mean?
yeah? So yeah, basically, I
Okay.
mean, like it's
So
just like a group because Sudan is not, Sudan, Palestine. These are all examples, all right, of places where you know. Now, Sudan is a bit different than Palestine, though. Definitely.
yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So the thing about RSF is they're not a country army. They're militia. I don't know the direct in English. We call them مرتزقة. So they're people who've been
They
paid.
are mercenaries, Tasabih.
Yeah, what?
Mercenaries.
Yes,
Mercenaries, yeah.
yes. So
Got
they're
it.
not. Yes. So from the beginning, the roots. This is what they do. It's corruption. They're not a
Got
part
it.
of the Sudan army. They're different mission. They're not only Sudanese. They're from people from Chad, from Nigeria, from South Sudan, and from Colombia. So we're not talking about just an army from a country. No,
Got it.
they're
Got it.
they
Okay.
said.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah,
All right.
that's a
Thank
very
you for
important
explaining.
Also, I
distinction.
just want to add one last thing. It's not an official document or anything, but it's a story or it's a book. But it's not. It's supposed to be fictional, but it takes stories from real life. It's called Darfur Christ. مسيح دارفور in Arabic, in English Darfur Christ. If you can check it, I think in a very easy way it could give you an information about the background of what's going on in Darfur, especially. Keep in mind it's fictional. The heroes of the story are not real people, but the situations that happened are all true and real. And I think it's an easy way for you to understand and know what's happening in Sudan, in Darfur.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ansam. If you could please send me a link to that book, that would be great. And then I'll share it with everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Hakim and Ansam, for being here. We appreciate both of you taking time out late in your evening to be here with us and educate us on this important topic. And take your time sending the links and stuff that you wanted to share in addition to whatever you already shared in the chat. And I will be sharing it with all the Freedom Advocacy Network members. And we will all try to do more for Sudan and the Sudanese people. Thank you.
No, actually, thank you. And for everyone here, we really appreciate this. Like, I really appreciate the fact that you took your time to listen to us, ask questions, be actually want to read books and watch videos about what's going on in Sudan. It really touched me. And I just really appreciate everyone here. So thank you, everyone. And I love you all so much.
Thank you, Dr. Hakim. Thank you, Ansam. Thank you, everyone else. Thank you for being here. Always have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good day. Salman, bye. Bye. Thanks.
Tasabih.